It's known as the state's quiet corner, southwestern New Hampshire, where apple orchards, covered bridges, and tiny towns share the countryside at the base of the rock, Mount Monadnock. Just west of the mountain sits the small city of Keene. Keene is a place its residents like to say is the heart of New England, situated as it is at the region's geographical core. Though Keene is considered a city, it still feels like a small town. Main Street, Keene, New Hampshire. It's the widest main street in all of New England. It's an attractive, bustling place where one can still feel a strong sense of community. But like small cities and towns all across America, Keene has had to struggle to keep its main street alive. Take America's love of the automobile, add an avalanche of malls, and you spell disaster for older city centers nationwide. Keene's downtown is no exception. Several shopping malls ring the city's perimeter. Retail fixtures like Goodnow's, Sears, and Woolworths have all moved on. Empty storefronts blight the central square. But amid the decline, a growing resurgence. Terry Pindle is a writer and former Keene City Councilor whose latest book chronicles the revival of small city centers across America.
Being able to conveniently get to the mall to buy things is not enough, and Americans are discovering that. In towns and cities, great and small, all across this country, people are starting to demand something else. They're starting to say, no, there's more to life than driving to the mall and parking in that acres of free parking. They want places where they can gather. They want places where they can see their fellow townspeople. They want commerce where it's service rather than convenience, where it's quality rather than price, where it's things that have an identity rather than simple staples. This is what is done best in the downtown, where you have merchants who know everyone, where when you go there in a small city, you know you're going to see people you know.
Older city centers still face a stiff uphill battle to survive and thrive. Keene's chances are better than most. Its original buildings remain largely intact, lending texture and charm to the downtown. Main Street is refurbished with new parking spaces, benches, and trees. And local business and community groups here aggressively promote the revival of their downtown.
People will come back to their downtowns if they are in good shape. And of course what's happening now is that business people and investors are discovering that yes, there's a market here. Not only do you see the revival of main streets around the country, but you also see different kinds of investment on Main Street that are harbingers of the coming, what I call post-mall downtown.
Keene's downtown is evolving into a place where professional offices and one-of-a-kind retail outlets take root. At Earth Treasures, you can find unique educational and science-related games and toys. Imports Plus offers freshly roasted gourmet coffees and upscale kitchenwares.
There are going to be some wrenching changes. Property is going to be used very differently from how people are used to it in the past. And you're going to see, downtown is not going to be the downtown. We're not going back to the downtown of the past. We're fashioning a new downtown on the geographical place and the buildings of the downtown of the past.
At the center of Keene's revitalization, the $1.2 million restoration of the Colonial Theater on Main Street. Opened 70 years ago, the Colonial staged the last of the great vaudeville acts and screened the best movies of its day. Now the community hopes the theater will be the touchstone for an economic and cultural revival, which will draw people back to the center of town. Gail Talbot is a board member of the Colonial Theater Group.
In March, we're opening with My Fair Lady with the Lions Club, which is a wonderful show. It's a community-based show that really is quite professional. And to us, that's the perfect show to open up with. And to do that, we had to completely redo the stage, and we had to make it a place where you felt really comfortable. But in doing that, we wanted to keep it so that it was a perfect place, so that they remember what it used to look like. So we have used a lot of our photographs of old Colonial and what it looked like then. It's a way of saying past is wonderful. people believe that the community does belong to them. There's a sense that they can really participate and they can be a part of their community and they can make things happen. That's the dream, is to make Keene a lively, exciting place.
These are the hill towns surrounding Keene, places with names like Alstead, Marlow, and Troy. Just southwest of Mount Monadnock lies the hamlet of Jaffrey, where generations of the Sawyer family have made their living from the land. The family runs Silver Ranch, caring for horses and catering to tourists. 75-year-old Alfred Sawyer still believes a team of horses and an old carriage is the best way to see the land his forefathers farmed.
There's got to be a story with that coat.
That coat?
There's got to be a story.
Story is that the bear had a hell of a lot of fun with that coat, and he was mad in hell when we took it away from him.
So they react when you say gentlemen to them.
You bet they do. Yeah. I suspect this carriage was probably made in the South because it has some luxury points that were commonly used in carriages in this part of the country. I had a nice carriage and somebody wanted it, and so I said, well, I'll trade it for that one, and so I traded for it. And we call it the Southern Belle because it's the type of carriage that people on the plantations in the South would have used.
I'm always amazed that this part of New Hampshire is stayed, you know, so, I don't know, pristine, if that's the word. I mean,
We're kind of tucked away, aren't we? You see, the big main line roads didn't come through our section here. And as long as we don't have any big main roads, there won't be too many people around.
Alfred's son Lee collects and restores antique carriages that the family uses for tours. They are functional works of art that harken back to a quieter, simpler time.
Now, what do you do with these?
I guess my favorite answer would be use them. But because we use them, we also have to acquire them, repair them, maybe restore them, maintain them.
And how were they used in the old days? Everyone had one?
Yeah, it was like an automobile. They use them up, wore them out, and threw them out. Most of the vehicles that you see around today, it isn't because they were built so wonderfully, it's because it was one of the few that didn't get worn out back when they used them.
No, this one right here. Back is the closed position.
Alfred's other son, Harvey, gives guided tours as well, tours of a different sort. Rather than bump along at a slow trot, he prefers to fly.
I got my taste of this when I was 4 years old, when my dad was flying, my uncle, and I used to go up with him any chance I could get. Anytime an airplane flew overhead in those days, we'd run out of the house and see what it was, see if it was going to be landing. I just always loved to fly. This is the Model A of aviation. Most everybody learned to fly in Piper Cubs from the late 1930s through the 1950s.
Now, what did these cost in the old days?
The first ones that came out sold for $1,295, $1,295. And when this one was built in '46, I think the price was up around $2,900. The latest version of this sold for about $80,000. Nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. It's terrific. It's slow. You fly slow and low, and with the door open, you can almost reach out and touch the earth. Monadnock is our beacon. Today we have Loran and VOR and GPS and everything else, but still Monadnock is our beacon. If you can see Monadnock, then you can find your way home with it. I think we've been here in Jaffrey for
8 or 9 generations. I would say that our family has always been with the land. That's my feeling is just as strong with the land as somebody else's is with the things that they indulge in, you know. And my ideal of life is to keep it as simple as possible and pleasurable every day.
Tuesday night, Main Street, Keene, New Hampshire. From the basement of the Congregational Church, the sounds of music.
Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there.
This is the Cheshireman Barbershop Chorus, 40 men from Keene who get together every week to sing the good old songs. It's a tradition that dates back 43 years.
Say that I'll be there. Say that I'll be there.
Dino Hoopus is the group's musical director.
We just love to sing and sing in harmony. We're made up of all kinds of people. There are men who work and there are men who are retired. We jokingly say, and this is something we're trying to fight all the time, that we're made up of, the average group is deceased. The group tends to be older, obviously. Our whole point of being is to have good fellowship in song and to spread the word of fellowship through song to the community.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know. Everything about it is appealing, everything the traffic will allow. Nowhere could you get that happy feeling when you are stealing that extra bow. There's no...
If you were looking for a place with a good old-fashioned sense of community, you'd find it right here. Keene is a city that values its old downtown, knowing that community is rooted right here on Main Street.
We wouldn't change it for a sack of gold. Let's go on with the show.
Dino Hoopus grew up in this city. He knows what it's like to know your neighbors.
The most important thing is you feel you belong here. The roots are great. People maintain their, how do I want to say this? They maintain their acquaintances beyond just an acquaintance.
It's a special evening at Cleveland House, a home for the elderly just off Main Street. Tonight's entertainment, the Cheshireman's Barbershop Chorus.
I think it's important downtown because it really is the focal point of our existence. There's a great element of pride in keeping the downtown healthy and vibrant. There's enough stability, I believe, in the life of the community itself that it isn't that threatened. It's challenged, there's no question. We can see that by these attempts at large malls to come in and make their way known. But it seems like the good Yankee stability just exists and stays and maintains itself.
is a way that people can be immersed in their own history to come on board. You can't help looking around and saying, wow, this is really great, look at this, and you learn a little bit what it was like to live here. You start to realize things that you didn't know about, or you didn't even know that you didn't know about, to do with what it takes to be a fisherman, and to appreciate that. And, you know, we always learn, hopefully, from history. There's something here that speaks to people. This is a story that's worth hearing.
Schooner Adventure out of Gloucester, Mass.
Chronicle will be right back after tonight's Lottery Live.
She's Adventure, Gloucester fishing schooner. She fished the banks, then sailed to Maine to serve as a windjammer. She's Adventure, Gloucester fishing schooner. With her sails still flying, she's coming home again. Leo Hines became her able master. Adventure was highliner of them all. When the days of fish by sail had departed,